Hey, I'm Kev Kermuska and welcome to Power Oversteer. And in today's episode we're previewing the 19th and final round of the 2013 FIA Formula 1 World Championship season. It is the Brazilian Grand Prix held at the Autodromo José Carlos Pais in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And heading into this finale of the season, of course we know the champions and Sebastian Vettel has 372 points. Actually 24 points ahead of Mercedes in the Constructors' Championship. So he's virtually won the Constructors by himself there. Fernando Alonso is in second with 227 points. Lewis Hamilton's third with 187 points, 4 ahead of the absent Kimi Raikkonen. So it's up to Mark Webber on 181 points to challenge Hamilton for third in the championship, and he's only 6 points behind. Nico Rosberg is 6th with 161 points, and Roman Grosjean in 7th with 132 points, and he's 24 ahead of Felipe Massa, who's in 8th with 108. Then there's a big gap to Jenson Button in 9th with 61 points, 13 ahead of Paul di Resta in 10th. Nico Hulkenberg right behind the rest now after a great finish in Austin, just 1 point behind him with 47. Sergio Perez is 12th with 41. On 29 points is Adrian Sittel, and we've got Dan Ricciardo with 18, John Eric Verne with 13, Esteban Gutierrez with 6, Bottas with 4 ahead of Maldonado with a solitary point. None of the newer team drivers have scored, but Bianchi leads Pick, Van der Garde and Chilton, with Kovalainen now last and stands with is 14th place from the last race in Austin. In the Constructors we've got Red Bull leading with 553 points. And then we've got Mercedes, like I said, with 348 points. And in the battle for second, they're 15 points ahead of Ferrari. Lotus and guaranteed with 4th place with 315 points. And then you've got McLaren now in treble figures with 102 points, 25 ahead of Force India, who have 77 in 6th, with Sauber with 53 points, and then you've got Toro Rosso with 32 points. So sorry, Ricciardo had 19 points then. And then we've got Williams with 5, and none of the newer teams have scored, of course. But the news since the last race in Austin, well, there's a provisional calendar that's been handed around, and it seems Bernie has told the teams that they're not going to career next season, and we've already expected that we won't go to New Jersey or Mexico next season, so the calendar looks like it's going to be 19 races on, just like this season, a good number in my opinion. But the season finale might be held at Abu Dhabi because the teams want to do some post-season testing the week after, just like they do in GP2 and GP3 this season. So we could see the finale at Abu Dhabi, for Brazil being the penultimate race of the season. A bit of a tragedy. I think Brazil's the best season finale we've had in recent years, at least since Adelaide, and so yeah, I would love to see Brazil as a season finale. But at the beginning of the season there is the Australian Grand Prix, so we still have that as the opener. But there's a 2-week gap to Malaysia apparently, and the teams wanted to be back to back, so it's better for cost effective. But Bernie's refusing to budge on that, it seems, and so it seems that Malaysia might be back to back with Bahrain instead, the third round of the season. And then we have China, and actually no, China would be the third round of the season. No, it is Bahrain, the third round of the season, sorry about that. And yeah, and then it's China, Spain kicking off the European season on the 11th of May, Monaco, Canada, Austria, Great Britain, Germany at the Hockenheim Ring, Hungary, and then the Belgium, and then the midsummer break between Hungary and Belgium again. And then we have Italy, Singapore, Japan, Russia at the Sochi circuit, Austin, Brazil, and Abu Dhabi, ending the season on the 16th of November, so about a week before this season ends. So yeah, a very interesting season is going to be held almost exactly over 8 months there, from the 16th of March to the 16th of November, and I believe it's a much better calendar than the one we saw, the provisional calendar we saw ages ago. Also, Perez not interested in the back Barker move, and wants to try and keep it in midfield. That open midfield with 2 slots at Force India. Apparently 2 slots at Lotus, even though it looks like Grosjean will get one. And apparently 2 slots at Sauber, even though it looks like Sorokin will get one, depending on that Russian deal. So, yeah, it's a very interesting driver market still after the season ends. And that's all the news I got. Not much news, of course, into the season finale. I expect we get lots of news over the Brazilian weekend, though, and just after, as all the dotted lines get signed. But let's preview the Brazilian Grand Prix. Let's talk about some track facts. So, track facts for the Brazilian Grand Prix held at the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace, or the Interlagos circuit, as it's more generally known. Interlagos, between 2 lakes, between lakes even, as there used to be a massive lake at the track here on the old 8-kilometer 5-mile circuit. But the circuit is now 71 laps along the race. It is 4.309 kilometers on a 2.6677 miles long, 305.908 kilometers, 190 miles in the race. It's been held 41 times, with the inaugural race in 1972 as a non-championship round won by Carlos Reutemann at the old 8-kilometer Interlagos circuit. But in recent years, in the last race last season, it was a McLaren Fest with a sprinkling of Hulkenberg. Unfortunately, that didn't really work out though, but it was Lewis Hamilton the pole and his McLaren with a 1:12.458, and then it was Button winning in his McLaren from Alonso and Massa, and Alonso needed to win that race to beat Vettel, but he was just 2.7 seconds away from doing that at the line, as of course there was a safety car to end the race after Paul di Resta's big crash, and the faster that went to Lewis Hamilton in his McLaren in a 1:18.069 in that rain affected race. And what a great race it was, especially in that free-for-all that was the first half of the race. But the most successful driver around in the Brazilian Grand Prix is of course Alain Prost, actually, with 6 wins, with the last one coming in 1990, the first one in 82. Carlos Reutemann has 4 wins, including that non-championship round, as I said, in 1972 when he won in the Brabham Ford, and he has 4 wins, or 3 in the official Formula 1 World Championship races. And Schumacher has 4 wins, the last one being in 2002 and the first one in 94. And then you got lots of drivers with 2 wins: Emerson Fittipaldi, Nelson BK, Nigel Mansell, Ayrton Senna, Mika Hakkinen, Ron Pablo Montoya, Felipe Massa and Mark Webber are the most successful current drivers around it, incredibly, with Massa in 2006 and 2008, of course, Romero in 2009 and 2011. Most successful constructor is McLaren with 12 wins, with Ferrari with 10, and then Williams with 6. Red Bull have 3 wins, and that was from 2009 to 2011. And then we have Brabham as well, including that non-championship round, as I said, in 1972. And then 2 wins for Benetton with Schumacher in the mid-90s, and 2 for Renault in 1980 with René Arnoux, and then in 82 with Alain Prost. And the Brazilian Grand Prix has been shared between 2 circuits, even though the Interlagos circuit has changed quite a lot. It started out the 8-kilometer circuit, I said, an official championship round in 1973, where home hero Emerson Fittipaldi won in his Lotus. Then he won the next year in the McLaren, and then it was Carlos Pace, the circuit that the Interlagos circuit is named after, the driver is named after, won in the Brabham Ford, in his only Grand Prix win before he got sadly killed in a light plane crash early in 1977. Niki Lauda won his Ferrari in 76, and Reutemann for a couple of years in 77. Then in 78, when it went to the Rio circuit, I'm not going to pronounce it because I'm going to say it wrong, but yeah, I know it's the Nelson Piquet circuit in recent years, which is sadly gone now due to the preparations for the Pan American Games and then for Olympics, I think, and World Cup. But then he went back to Interlagos for 79 when Jacques Lafitte won his Ligier, and then I said Arnoux won in his Renault in the last race around the 8-kilometer circuit. The surroundings are quite run down for Formula 1's taste, and also the drivers didn't like the safety of the circuit, so it's been cut down and it's returned to that circuit ever since 1990. But in the 80s, it was held at that Rio circuit from 81, with again Rudelman winning in his Williams until 1989, when Nigel Mansell won in the Ferrari, the first win for a sequential gearbox, I believe, in Formula 1 in his Ferrari, when he famously set a plane flight for the midway through the race because he didn't think his Ferrari would finish the race, but he won on his debut in a Ferrari, one of the select few drivers to do that, including, of course, Kimi Raikkonen in 2007 at Australian Grand Prix. But then since 1990, as I say, it's held at this Interlagos 4.3 km circuit, and Alan Prost won in his Ferrari. Then it was Senna finally winning his home race in 1991, and that famous final few laps when he was stuck in 5th gear and he's just jamming the lever in place because it was always trying to slip out and try and get the car into neutral there. And you saw how heroic it was in the Senna movie, of course. And Mansell in 92, Senna in 93, then 2 wins for Schumacher in 94 and 95, Hill in 96, Villeneuve in 97, 2 for Hakkinen in 98 and 99. Yeah, it is sounding like the world champions kind of liked to win at this place. But then it was Schumacher in 2000, then Coulthard in a memorable race in 2001 when he overtook Schumacher, just like Hakkinen did at Belgium, Spa the year before, when he took Schumacher around the outside in the Senna RS when they had Tarso Marquez in the middle of them. Then Schumacher in 2002, then the infamous 2003 race where Giancarlo Fisichella finally got his first Grand Prix win in the Jordan, even though they gave it to Kimi Raikkonen at the time, but after timing and putting it back up, they gave him the trophy at Imola at the next race. Not quite the celebration they probably would have wanted, especially as the car got on fire in part for Fisichella. And then it was Montoya in 2004 and 2005 in his last race for Williams and his last race win in Formula 1, I believe, actually, in 2005 in his McLaren. Then it was Massa in 2006, Raikkonen in 2007, Massa in 2008, Webber, Vettel, Webber and Button last year in his McLaren, after a great battle between the two McLarens and Hulkenberg at the front for most of the race. And unfortunately, Hulkenberg and McLaren and Hamilton got into a bit of a tangle. Hamilton out in sport and Hulkenberg getting 5th place in the end, if I remember correctly, with Webber in 4th. But yeah, it's been an interesting Brazilian Grand Prix history. It's got a very interesting line of victors, mostly allowing themselves a real chance, but there's been the odd surprise victory or random victory. But you have to be a very good driver to win in Brazil, even in the random races. And that is the track facts for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Let's now go into some predictions now. So, predictions for the Brazilian Grand Prix for the last time this season and for the last part of the final preview of this season. It's going to be hard to nip past Red Bull if it's not a race. I haven't really checked the forecast, but if there's a sprinkling of rain, it could open up the options for the race, just as we saw last year, of course. But I do expect Red Bull to dominate, just like in 2011, if it does stay dry. And I do hope Webber wins that race, wins his last race in Formula 1. I think he's quite handy around the track, and it kind of sets up the nice pattern of 2009, 2011, and in 2013 Webber winning. He's quite good in the odd years, it seems. But yeah, he is very good around the track as well. Came 4th quite quietly last season, actually. No one really knows, but he did come 4th, roaring back in the second half of the race. And so in 2010 he was right on Vettel's tail throughout the whole of the race. And so yeah, he's very handy around the track. Around this. So in 2009 he won ahead of Kubica, remember, in that brick of a BMW, and he was very good in that race. And so yeah, I expect Webber to be a very strong favourite for this race, along with Vettel, of course, trying to go for that record 9th win in a row, and Schumacher's 13 wins in a season, not 13 years in a season. That would be quite long. But yeah, I think it's Red Bull's race to lose, frankly, if it is dry. If there's a bit of rain, or if there's lots of safety cars and it all just get mumbled up a bit, I do expect the closest challenge to be a little Grosjean, to be Mr. Consistent in his last 5 races. I think that those drivers driven superbly. He's at the top of his game, and he's the best he's ever driven in his life, frankly. And I think Grosjean will perhaps be on the podium, and then I think he could challenge for the win, even if it is even if it is dry. With the way the Lotus nicks after their tyres, I think that could come into play in the race if it is dry and stuff. Yeah, I think maybe even Grosjean could challenge for the victory even though it is dry there. But then you've got Mercedes with Hamilton. He has a very interesting history around the circuit. Never won here, but he's been very close on numerous occasions. And of course, in 2007, he had that weird glitch with his gearbox denying him the championship. 2008, he was going too slow at times, and Vettel pipped ahead of him. And then, of course, with Glock gambling on the tyres and just a corner too short for Glock's gamble to work out, and Hamilton got past and won the World Championship. But yeah, I think he could be challenging there. Rosberg as well, he's quite decent around the circuit as well. And then, yeah, I'm not sure about Ferrari. I think they've kind of slipped back. I think they could back with Kovalainen, who I think's he did a brilliant job in Austin, and I think he would be really challenging for points in that Lotus now. He's a bit more familiar with it, and I think he'd get in Q3 and be right up there in the points battle with Alonso. And with Massa as well, and looking for a good send-off in front of his own crowd from Ferrari before he joins Williams next season. Behind them, McLaren maybe. I don't think they were challenged for the win and get the win like they did last season, but getting some more solid points with Button and Perez for his send-off with the team. And then you've got Sauber, of course, with Hulkenberg. Good history around the circuit. Pole in 2010, of course. And then leading last year for most of the race until, of course, the safety car came out. Then he made a mistake. And then, yeah, he made quite a big one with Hamilton. But, yeah, Hulkenberg to get some more solid points. And Sauber normally do perform quite well here, getting some solid points in that car. So, yeah, I think it could suit them, especially that front straight, that will be very handy for them. And so, yeah, I think they can keep it together in the middle part and then really take advantage of that long straight and that final sector. And then you've got maybe Force India. Of course, they did well with Hulkenberg last season, and the rest was at the back of the points. And so, yeah, I think this could suit them as well. Then you've got maybe Toro Rosso sneaking for the point. They normally end the season with a points finish or being right there in the points hunt. And then you have Williams with their improved car. I'm not sure if it work out at this circuit, but you never know. I think they could be challenging for points with Bottas and maybe even Maldonado if he can keep it together for the whole race or even qualifying. So yeah, it's going to be a frantic battle in the midfield, basically up for grabs for anybody. I think the points are. And then at the back you've got Marussia and Kachum, who could take advantage of the wet weather just like they did last season to get quite a high finish. Of course, Petrov finished in 11th and Pick in 12th, and Glock was on for a points finish until he had damage with Vern's car, I remember, early in the race. And Kovalainen had problems as well with his car, so he dropped back. So yeah, they were set for points last season for the early part in that free-for-all that was going on. I'm not sure how it would have played out in longer for the rest of the race, but it was very interesting to see them really battling for points then. So yeah, if there's a bit of weather going on, bit of raining going on, do expect them to be challenging for points. I do think that is possible, but if it's not, they'll just be at the back as usual. And I think it'll be an interesting battle between Bianchi and Van der Garde though for best of the newer team drivers and finishers, with Chilton going for the rookie record of not completing every race, but completing the most races in a season for a rookie, which would be 19. And yeah, you could be the driver that finishes every race this season, which is a good accomplishment, but I'm sure you'll be like to have been a bit close to his teammate at times as well and be a bit faster. But it's like he's closing in for a 2014 deal as well. I forgot to mention that in the news. But yeah, that's my predictions for the Brazilian Grand Prix. I'm going for Webber to win it. Bit of a homer there, going for Webber in his last Formula 1 race. I think it will be Grosjean second and Vettel third. I'm going to mix it up a bit with the podium order, with maybe even Hamilton being up there or Rosberg as well challenging. But let me know your predictions in the comments below. And this has been the last Power Oversteer preview for this season. Of course, I'll be back with a review of the Brazilian Grand Prix. So out for watching. So till then, cheerio.